All right, welcome. It is Friday. Awfully snowy. A little cold outside. A little cold, baby. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Yo. What is up, Arkansas Razorback fans? Hopefully notifications went out. Okay, so, yeah, we got a lot to discuss. We Arkansas transfer portal. Some Arkansas transfer portal stuff happening. We've had a lot happen over just the last 48 hours or so, or 24, 48 hours. So, yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, fire away. Yeah. Okay, everything's good to go here. I don't know. All right. So, yeah, if you guys have anything to say, please fire away. Any questions, comments, I'll do my best to read them. Our Alabama looks like they've made their hire. Kalen DeBoer is apparently on a plane out of Seattle heading down to Birmingham, Alabama. Heading down to Birmingham. That might be that's a very interesting fit. It's going to be a Pac-12 to SEC move. Kalen DeBoer, who has a very impressive record, very short time at Washington. Very short time at Washington. He was only there for 2 years, 2022 and 2023. He was born October 24th, 1974. He's 49, out of Millbank, South Dakota. He got his first, I guess you could, I don't want to say big gig, but his, he got a shot at Eastern Michigan in 2014, where he was the offensive coordinator, quarterback coach. He went to Fresno State for a couple of years, did the same thing. And then he went to Indiana, where he was the offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach in 2019. He was only there for a year. He gets brought back to Fresno State 2020 and 21 as the head coach. And then 2022 and 23, he ends up at Washington. Hey, what's up, Ty? How you doing, man? Jason, Carson, how you doing? How's it going? So, yeah, interesting, not a surprising hire. This is who I thought it was for a while. I just kind of felt like this is, I say for a while. It feels like a while because I've been refreshing my phone for what seems like since Saban retired. But I kind of had a sense that this is maybe where they would go. I had a feeling like this is where they would go. At Washington, he was incredible. 2022, he goes 7-2 in conference play, 11-2 overall. They won the Alamo Bowl. And then we know what happened in 2023. They go 14-1, 9-0, played in the Sugar, and then lost in we know what happened. He lost the big one. 25-3 was his record in 2 seasons at Washington, 16-2 in conference play. His overall record, now this goes back to Sioux Fall, where he was the offensive coordinator and head coach at Sioux Falls. He was there from 2005 to 2009. I mean, he won 11, 14, 13, 14, 15 games there. He was 67-3 at Sioux Falls, where he won 3 NAIA championships. I mean, everywhere this guy goes, success seems to follow. Fresno State, now 2020, they only played in 6 games. They go 3-3, but in 2021, he goes 9-3, overall 12-6. And Washington gave him the shot. So he ends up 104-12. So including Sioux Falls, Fresno State, and Washington, 104-12 with a 16-2. Well, we already said that. No, his 16-2 at Washington was his record in conference play. Fresno State 9-5. 2020, it's hard to hold against anybody, but they went 500 at least out of their 6 games played. Who would have thought? I know everyone says I saw this coming, but I feel like we've been saying that for 6 years. Saban's gone. He's going to retire. It's going to happen. They lost. They didn't win a national championship. Or it's the other way. He won a national championship. That's it. He's out. He's done. He's out. Well, he doesn't win the title, doesn't play for the title, and he decides to retire. So, yeah. DeBoer must not have liked the Pacific Northwest very much to risk a death sentence at Bama, says Bumbles Bounce. Yeah. I don't know, man. I see people who don't like they don't like the idea of that mindset of like, you're going there and there's such big shoes to fill. Why would you want to go there, right? Like, I've seen that notion kind of called out a little bit, but there is truth in it. There is truth. Now, there was a report, no idea how legit, that they did in fact go after Florida State coach. Why am I blanking? Oh my gosh. We've talked about him so many times on this show. Florida State's guy, Norvell. There was a report that Alabama had gone after Norvell and he turned him down. I don't know. I mean, we know who the agent is involved in all this. Who really knows what's real and what's not real? But some guys certainly got some raises out of it. We know that. I mean, that's what happens. This kind of, when you lose someone like Nick Saban, it shakes the foundation of coaching, right? You look at, now it's a little bit different with Coach K and basketball and everything, a little bit different. You know, some of these jobs, these assistants hang around for a little while, you know, and then they get promoted. You know, they stick around long enough and they get promoted. You know, a little different situation, and that's happened that's happened around basketball. It's not unheard of where an assistant gets bumped up. It is pretty unheard of in college football for them to be like, yeah, that's why I never bought into the Kendall Briles was going to be the next head coach in waiting. Or at least I had a hard time buying into it. There were a couple times, last year, especially after him being retained for a third year, I thought there maybe there's something to this, but I still had a hard time accepting it. And of course, he ends up at TCU. That sort of thing just doesn't happen in college football. It just really doesn't. I mean, that coordinator has to be married to that program. I would say position coach, but position coach is that's not a very common thing where you see a position coach, stick around and then get the head coaching job, or even to be hired to begin with, unless you're Sam Pittman, who was not a coordinator. He was only ever an offensive line coach, at least, in Power 5 football, where it mattered. So I like the hire. I feel like it goes one of two ways. I don't think there is an in-between with this hire. I think it's either going to be really successful, and I say really. I don't know this guy's going to win 6 national championships. But you know what I mean? Right out the gate, maybe not year one, or maybe year one, where it takes a couple of years and all of a sudden they're back in the playoffs and they're winning championships, and they're in, if they don't win the championship, maybe they're playing for it, or it goes the other way where it's just kind of a slow crash and burn and he's gone in like 2-3 years. In a place like Bama, I think it is true that if depending on how far you fall, and for them, like year 1, 7-5, his seat's going to be warm his second season. I think it would. I think it'd be warm. I don't know that he'd be fired, but I think it'd be warm. If you're Alabama, you don't want to have that reputation as not letting a guy settle in, even if you're Alabama. Now, Arkansas gave Chad Morris year 1, and then they gave him a shot at year 2. They just didn't let him finish year 2. So you wonder, did that have kind of an impact? Coaches may not want to go to a place. They may not want to go coach for an athletic director who's just going to pull the plug 6 or 7 games into the season, 8, 9 games into the season, whatever. They want a chance at building. That's one of the things you worry about if you're coming into Alabama. I do think they're going to pluck some guys out of Washington. Their number 1 corner just hit the portal. I think you're going to see a mass exodus at Washington. Hey, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Remember, post game we'll be here tomorrow. we're going to do our very first giveaway, Tuss Talk with Ty Patreon giveaway, immediately following this live show. We're going to do our very first giveaway. Now, to get that link, you need to be I'm going to try and share the link on Patreon, but you need to be in Discord, because immediately following this live show, we're going to go do the giveaway. How it's going to work, it's a shot. I can't promote the card. I'm not allowed to do that. But I can tell you there's, I'm going to give away one, maybe two cards, and we'll set the rules there as far as what tier you need to be. But those of you who are in Patreon, though, the link will be available to Patreon supporters in Patreon home chat. That's where I'll put the link. Really, it doesn't matter who's there. I can make it public. It doesn't matter, but you have a shot at winning. I mean, you guys have seen the cards. You have a shot at winning one of those cards. It will not. Well, you'll just have to see. So don't freak out if you're not there. Don't freak out if you're not there for the giveaway. You're gonna have plenty of time. If your name is called, I'm probably gonna give you a few days. I'll set the rules there when I'm in that. When we're live for the Patreon show or Patreon. It's not a show. We're just doing the giveaway. So, Portal is the great equalizer, says Michael Kopesky. You're not wrong. I do think it's helped other conferences catch up to the SEC. I think there's an argument to be made that the SEC, that the gap has it's closed. If it's not completely, you almost feel like it's Big Ten SEC or SEC Big Ten, with all these other conferences just kind of squirming around or dying away. I don't know what college football is going to look like in 5 to 6 years, but according to Josh Pate, we're going to see some pretty big changes here in the next couple of years. I don't know if you guys caught that video or not. Swaggy says Bama's cooked. I don't know. It's a pack higher. It's a pack 12 higher. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I just hope the Tide rolls out so bad that Mobile Bay goes dry. I heard Saban will have an office, so he still has lots of say in what they do. I don't know about all that. I have no idea. I have no idea. It wouldn't shock me. I mean, he is the president of Alabama, or is that Tommy Tuberville? He's doing something down there in politics. Shout out to the sponsors: Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. Same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes. Hundreds of 5-star reviews. Give them a call today at 501-244-3667. Again, that's Direct Service Garage Doors. Their link is provided for you down below. Also, the Odd Soul Crap Bar and Pizzeria on Emma Street. In Springdale. Great pies. I think Emma Street's pretty accessible tonight. I think if you wanted to try, I did again. Don't try it. Maybe just be careful. Maybe check out the Odd Soul tomorrow if this all clears up. I think the side roads in Springdale are a little rough. Emma Street, yeah, Emma Street can be a little slick. But again, the Odd Soul Crap Bar Pizzeria, great pies, great staff. Their menu, we have their menu up in our Discord, and their link is also provided for you down below. Okay, so I got tagged. All right, what is this? Google, according to Google, while he is stepping down, he's not stepping away. The legendary coach will remain involved with the program and even have his own office at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Reese Davis sat down with Saban and spoke with him. I didn't see that. I didn't see Reese do the interview. I'll have to watch that interview. Spoke with the coach about his 17 years in Tuscaloosa. God bless. 17 years, man. Well, cool. Good for him. Awesome. I mean, Just make him the athletic director. I mean, what are you gonna? You're obviously gonna have to pay the guy. The hire had Saban's approval, so maybe Bama fans will take a little easier on him. I don't think people realize how much of a miracle it is that Arkansas has landed so many good portal guys. 4-8 is a huge mountain to climb. Still need more though. All right, we're gonna get into the portal talk. We're also gonna talk about Arkansas basketball taking on Florida, going on the road or staying on the road. I guess they stayed out there. I guess they stayed out on the East. That makes sense. That makes sense than flying back and having to go back. That's silly. Hogs. Charles Alvarez says Hogs are doing good in the transfer portal. I think all things considered, yeah. Again, it's not as if Arkansas just went 8-4 again, 9-3, 10-2. I think they're doing a pretty good job. All things considered, I think it's real easy to look at their rank and be like, well, that's horrible. It might be if you're, I don't know. If you're Missouri coming off the kind of year you had, you'd probably be upset with not being in the top 15 when the dust settles. I think Missouri's ranked right in front of Arkansas. Yeah, Arkansas 16th right now. Missouri is 8th. They're top 10. It's a lot easier when you've had the kind of turnaround that Missouri's had. According to 247, they have 4 4-stars with 10 commits. Arkansas is falling back, but they have 3 4-stars, a total of 13 commits. And I believe they still have 4 spots left. I think we're hanging around 4. It might be 5. It might be 3. They're just ranked ahead of UCF, Kentucky, Oklahoma, Cal, Houston, Michigan State, who just had a coaching change. I'm not going to be someone who's too critical of a kid. Like, I'll call out like, hey, Brazil, what are you doing? Where's the effort, right? I'll do that. I don't like to call anyone like bad. Oh, you're just bad. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think if you're watching a game and you're just like, man, I don't know, so-and-so's just bad. He's just not having a good year. Well, I've done that. I do that, right? Sometimes I've done that here live. I'm not feeling the Miguel Mitchell transfer. I'm just not feeling it. I talked with a friend of mine. They're not hurting over his loss at all. His grades are terrible. I don't. At this point, you just have to put faith in what the staff is doing. I mean, when you look at what they did, and we talk about this a lot, with the kind of changes that we saw in a single offseason and what we saw them do on the field last year, it's hard to doubt what they do, but 1 year isn't 2 years. It's not 3 years. Is it possible they make mistakes, or is it also, again, that 4-8 thing? Is it the fact that you went 4-8? You just got to do the best with what you can. Again, it's not all bad. It's not all bad. I've liked some of them. I've liked a lot of the moves. I think they have done well in the portal. I just don't know about the Miguel Mitchell. PFF grade 55.7. PFF tackle grade 43. Cover grade 54.7. He was a 3-star out of high school. He signed with Florida in 22. He is versatile. I have it here noted. He's a versatile defensive back. 220 snaps at free safety. He played the slot in 90 snaps. So maybe that's what they're seeing. This is a guy that might be able to back up the hog position, right? Which is also known as the nickel for anyone. It's that inside corner, plays the slot. So maybe that's what they see. This is a guy that can maybe line up. Maybe that's his natural position. That's why he graded out bad, right? They watched a hell of a lot more film than we did highlight videos on YouTube. They did. I'm sure they did their research. But I don't know. This one, he's 6'1", 220. I like that size, especially for a free safety. I like that size. Florida guy I talked to thought he was closer to about 6'2", 225. But, of course, that was going into the season. But I think that this is I don't know. It kind of feels like we need to fill these spots. This guy he's got SEC experience. It's something you do have to appreciate. You cannot undervalue SEC experience, right? Having snaps under your belt. He had 37 tackles, 1 interception, 2 pass breakups this year. 2022, he had 15 tackles. He had a forced fumble, no picks, no pass breakups. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this was really a great week for them out of the portal. Again, overall, I have liked what they've done. I like Anton, that kid they got out of Albany, the edge rusher. I've been watching. I watched some of his stuff. I've been kind of popping in and out some of what video is out there. He grades off the charts. He looks the part, looks powerful. He plays with a pretty high level of like hatred. If you watch him play, he's violent. He forces fumbles, man. He's smart with his hands. I like Anton a lot. I really am curious about what he does. He will be here during the spring. I'm 90% sure he'll be here during the spring. Can't wait to see him. Can't wait to see what that looks like. On the offensive side of the ball, Jackson, the running back out of Utah, that was a great get. Marquise Robinson out of South Alabama, I think will be someone who, will have a shot at making maybe the 3 deep. But that's another one where I'm kind of like, I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. Xavier Sori, the Georgia linebacker, his tackle score is 80.3. So, he's a good size linebacker, 6'3", just under 200 and I think 20 pounds. So, yeah, I mean, recently they've done a pretty good job. Again, Miguel Mitchell just kind of feels like a filler. It feels like a filler spot. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he proves me wrong. I'm not trying to, crap on anybody, but I don't know. His grades aren't great. I tried to watch some video. I've talked with my Florida individual, my friend. They're not hurting over this loss. But then again, you ask them, they're like, we need to clean house. And that's exactly what he said. We need to just clean house. They're not real big on anybody. It's not as if Florida set the world on fire. So, again, 220 snaps at free safety, 90 snaps where he lined up at the slot. 6'1", 219. His tackle grade is atrocious. It's 43. I don't know that I've seen very many Arkansas offers where they grade out so poorly at the tackle grade. And you can also say, listen, what does PFF know? Fair, okay. But I'll say I've kept up with PFF now this is my 3rd year. Some of their numbers, you see it. Like you watch, you see kind of what they're seeing, especially watching the Razorbacks. You kind of feel like their grading is pretty fair. Not all the time. I don't think they get it right all the time. I am skeptical of PFF, but just giving you a heads up, right? And you also have to be skeptical of these guys that are coming out of a place like Albany and they have these really high grades, or anywhere that's not Power 5 football, and you're like, okay, they have high grades. Would they still have those high grades if they're in the SEC, right? And I think that's fair because we've had a couple of transfers that are not from P5 football. They're not from Division I or whatever, FBS, FCS, whatever you want to call it. And those guys have outstanding numbers, and then they come to Arkansas and they struggle. So we'll have to play it by ear. We'll have to see how this unfolds. I'm being – obviously there's some sarcasm in there when I'm talking FCS, FBS, but you get what I mean. Guys that are coming from kind of a lower level, not really this caliber of football. When you're coming from a place like Albany, like Anton is, and he's got this 90.5 overall PFF grade, will he do that here? Will he have – maybe. We'll see. We'll see at those grades – if they move with him. But I do he's fun to watch. He plays with a level of violence. I'm going to tell you that much. I love how quick he is off the line. He's abusive. It's nice to have that on the defensive line this year. He's going to play with a little bit of I don't know. I'm not saying attitude, but he just plays angry. I'm not saying he shit talks. Maybe he does. I don't know. Forces fumbles. I think he had 5 forced fumbles this year. Was it 5? and like a whole bunch of sacks, 17 career sacks, 12 sacks last year for Albany in 2023. Man, hope he brings that here. If he does, oh my gosh, him and Jackson, oh, they're going to eat you guys. They're going to eat, and it's going to be great. Hogs doing good, but not great. Ole Miss is killing it. Ole Miss is killing it. Did you guys see Florida State's? Florida State's under investigation. Oh, my God. You know they pissed somebody off, right? Anytime Atlanta going to be dogs on the front. Ty, do you think we have any chance of getting into the Alabama players? I mean, never say never, but, you know, you don't have a whole lot of room left. So, I mean, I don't know. And you could ask the same about Washington players too. Where do they end up? I don't know. Never say never. It's gonna be weird to see Bama go 9-3. If he starts off like 7-5, 6-6, which I mean, you have to really. I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough. What do you make of TC heading to Colorado? Not surprised. Not surprised. Charles Alvarez says, exactly. They're doing good for the year they just had. They are. Now, unfortunately, they did whiff on Percy Lewis. This was a dude. Arkansas, I'll just tell you right now, I mean, he was, what was that, last week? It was Arkansas's to lose, it felt like. You just never know with the portal, man. I mean, it's always tough. You'll feel pretty good about it one day, and then the next day it's just too late. Or it's changed in 24 hours. I mean, it's different where you have months and months on a high school recruit. You have a pretty good idea. They go on all these visits. You know, they go to these camps. It's just it's easier to narrow down. And I feel like it's so hard to predict these transfer portal kids. It just is. And then you know how much NIL is involved. But Percy Lewis, who's picked Auburn over Arkansas, I don't think Auburn got involved. I mean, I could be wrong about this, but I don't think Auburn got involved until kind of late in that whole process. I think he entered the portal in December. Yeah, December 19th is when he entered the portal. So Arkansas did lose out on him. They lost out on another one, the Florida offensive lineman, that's another one people thought he was going to end up coming to Arkansas. That's Micah Mazkua. 3-star prospect. He's going to go to Nebraska. He picks Nebraska over Arkansas. So, yeah, Mazkua and Lewis, both of which you swung and missed on. So it wasn't a great week. I'm not going to sit here and you know, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think it was a great week. I think it was an okay week. It was all right. It was okay. You started off pretty good, but those are two guys you really wanted to get. Those were two guys that you wanted a lot. You wanted them. Don't deny it. They did add a former Baylor player, Timothy Dawn, who's going to walk on, by the way, so that's cool. 6'5", 280 pounds at Baylor. He's from Camden. He's going to walk on. My guess is he wants to come back to his home state. Maybe, you know, I don't remember Arkansas really actively recruiting him, to be honest. I don't even think they sent him an offer. I remember talking with him with a couple of other media people, or his name was brought up, sorry. But I don't think Arkansas ever gave him an offer. But he was a part of that 2022 class, I think. Pull up his profile. Yeah, he was 13th player overall in the state of Arkansas in 2022 out of Camden. But he's going to come back. That's a walk-on, so that doesn't count against your scholarship. So that's a pretty good. You got to be, hey, all right. I don't know that he comes in and, you know, immediately is in the 2 deep. I'm not saying that, but it's a good It's not a bad get. Has Alabama officially announced this thing yet? I don't think Alabama has. I'm waiting until they officially announce it so I can hand out all that wonderful XP in Discord for everyone who got that. For everyone who guessed correctly. Hey, we got a super chat. Mason Huckabee. Hey, appreciate you, man. That's your first one. Awesome. Philip White says yes per ESPN. Well, I mean from Alabama. I'm waiting on Alabama. That's when you know it's officially official. Philip, I appreciate the retweet, sir. You guys don't forget I am on Facebook. Someone told me I need to get on, what's the other one? Rumble. I need to go get on Rumble. I don't know that anybody even watches anything there. I don't know. Hoping Anton can perform similar to how John Ridgway. Yeah. Yeah, Ridgway was a beast, man. I mean, Arkansas got something out of him. It's not like he came here in who cares where he came from? He came in and he was great for what Arkansas needed him to do. I think Anton can be better than that. I think he can be better than that. I'd really like to know what's going on with the basketball team right now. Yeah, Leslie, we're about to talk about that. That's the next thing. We're gonna get into that. Again, if you're just joining us, remember to like and share. Hit the like button. Share the content. Sharing is caring. All right? So why don't you go do that? But after this, we're gonna go do the Patreon giveaway. Our very first Patreon, Tuss Talk with Ty Patreon giveaway. So that will be next. I'm trying to sync up my. How do we only have 23 likes? Are you guys kidding me right now? Come on, we can get the likes up. Let me know if you guys think Arkansas has a shot against Florida. Arkansas have a shot. Doesn't mean you're necessarily picking them to win, but do they have a shot at beating those guys? Let Deke eat with Anton. That's right. I'd watch you wherever you post content. I appreciate that, Farrell. That's a legendary status member right there, ladies and gentlemen. Farrell Hogman. Kopesky, where have you been in Discord? Where have you been, bro? There's going to be some folks that get a little upset at me for bringing that up. Pray for the families of our basketball players tomorrow night. Well, I certainly hope nobody's tweeting at family members. This says let's celebrate. Come on, you goofy thing. Let's celebrate their first on a live stream. How do I do that? Can I put it on the screen? I don't know why well, whatever. But I appreciate the super chat. Word is that Auburn paid Lewis a lot. Yeah, that one. Yeah. I mean, Lewis was someone who I thought could come in and probably, get involved one way or another. That's Lewis and Matskua both are two guys I thought could get heavily involved. I really thought those are guys that would help anchor that offensive line, even if it was just too deep. I like them both a lot. Lewis could be a potential starter. I mean, I'm pretty high on him. I think that was a really good get. Swaggy AC says basketball going to shake back. It starts tomorrow. We do have a poll up. Hogs have a shot versus Florida. 68% of you say yes. All right. Let's get into it. Let's talk about Arkansas and Florida. The best rebounding team they're going to play all year. Very good. They're the number one rebounds per game team in the country at 45. Arkansas is at 132nd. That's not horrible. Arkansas is not an atrocious rebounding team. When you're floating around the like top 150. That's not awful. Okay, there's 300 plus teams in college basketball that are accounted for in those rankings. So you're in that mix in the top, in the half. But they rebound really well. They've got a 7-footer. They block pretty well. They're pretty good. They're a pretty efficient shot blocking team at 22nd in the country. They average just north 5 blocks. Arkansas still in the top 5, 6.5 per game. They're 4th in the country. But their scoring offense, extremely effective, 86 points a game. That's good enough for top 10 in the country. We know Arkansas, they don't have an offensive identity. I don't know if we see Mark back at the point guard and maybe they're going to let everything kind of flow through him. Florida is similar to Georgia in some ways where they have size and they have length and they can play physical. Problem is their defense is not good. They're probably one of the bottom 3 defenses in the SEC, at least in points allowed. I think their defensive numbers across the board are just nothing really stands out again other than their ability to get boards, and they're a really good offensive rebounding team, plenty of second chance shots. They're going to rack up some offensive boards if Arkansas's not careful tomorrow. But yeah, they're giving up close to 77 points a game. That's 296th in the country. But Arkansas is worse. Arkansas is worse. Arkansas is at the bottom 3 in the SEC in points allowed. Last I checked, it's not ideal. They're giving up 77 points a game. That's 302 in the country. Their assists, they do move the ball. I've watched them a little bit this year. They move the ball really effectively. They're averaging just north of about 16 assists per game. Arkansas, well, you certainly thought, this was going to be an area they climbed in. They're going backwards. They're 285th. Must counts passes. He'll tell you immediately following a game how many passes. And there's just not enough ball movement, and there's not enough ball movement that's leading to points, which, again, talking about assists, they're 285th in the country there. Again, Florida's top 45. They move the ball a lot better. Field goal percentage, they're about 46%. Them and Arkansas is similar there. They're not an elite three-point shooting team. They're actually almost tied with Arkansas. They're both about 204, 205 in the country at 32, 33% three-point shooting, which, again, is actually higher than I thought it was for Arkansas. They're not very good at the free throw line either, Florida. 318th. That's telling you they're getting their points just clearly on the floor. They don't have to rely on 25, 26 shots at the free throw line. They can find ways to get their points on the floor, and they do it. I think it starts with their offensive rebounding and their ability to move the ball. They're a top 150 in steals per game. They're averaging about 7 steals. This is another area, especially with Devo and with Minnefeld's emergence, I really thought these steal numbers would just blow up for Arkansas. We thought we saw Devo turn it around the other night. And they're not that team. They're not good at getting steals. They're not good at forcing many turnovers. Their expected starting 5, Will Richard, 6'4", 206. He's averaging about 10 points, 4 rebounds. Walter Clayton, 6'2", 195, 16 points, 3 assists a game. Zion Pullen, 6'4", 206, 15 points, 3 boards, 5 assists per game. They got 2 guys on the floor that start that are averaging north of 3 assists a game. Zion right at 5. Micah Handlockton, 7'1", 240 pounds. He's getting about 18 minutes a game, 7 points, 8 rebounds a game. He's a 65% shooter. And then Tyree Samuel, 6'10", 240-pounder. He's their forward. Micah and Tyrese, so expect to see them on the floor a lot tomorrow. This is a guy, Samuel gets about 27 minutes, 13 points, 8 rebounds per game, almost 2 steals per game. Walter Clayton, of their starting 5, is the worst about turnovers. He's turning the ball over about 2.5 times per game. In their last 5 games, Arkansas and Florida both struggling. They lost to Kentucky 87-85, and then Ole Miss 103-85. Ole Miss took care of business. And of course, Arkansas, we know what happened against Auburn and Georgia. They got smoked by Auburn and had a disappointing performance against Georgia. Despite a certain player just turning on the afterburners in the second half, it just wasn't enough. They're going to need help. They're going to need a lot of help. Yeah, Florida right now 10-5. Arkansas, Florida, A&M, Missouri, and Vanderbilt are all 0-2 in conference play. I did not see this happening for Arkansas. I'm talking about preseason. And I did not see this happening for A&M or Florida. I thought all 3 of those teams would at least be 1-1 or 2-0. And not only is Arkansas 0-2, they got completely shit on by Auburn off their own home court. Their worst loss ever inside Bud Walton Arena. I'm not taking Arkansas until they prove it. No, I'm taking Florida to win this game. I don't know. It's probably going to be something like a mid to high 80s. You know, Arkansas might even get blown out. I don't know. Might be close. Arkansas's their talent. I think they're still better. I had someone ask me the other day in the comment section, Ty, you always talk about how the skill we have. Why aren't we winning games? Bro, I've said it 5,000 times. I've said it so many times I'm getting red in the face. It doesn't matter. You can have NBA talent on the floor. If there's no chemistry, what does it matter? You have to play together. Got to play together. They're not doing that. There's no it's and I think too I think a lot of it's on coaching. They still don't have their rotations down. They struggle mightily with the screen. Out in the perimeter, they're awful against the screen. It's amazing with the athleticism. They just don't have it. These guys, there's not a willingness to really play defense outside of maybe a couple of guys a game. Yeah, man, they've got skill. I think they are they have the potential to be, offensively great. And maybe produce a couple of two-way players on the floor, and they're just not doing it. They're not playing well together, and it's just a lack of effort, and I don't know. I think they probably came here with the mindset maybe they're all going to be ballers individually. I'm not saying together. They're all thinking this together. And instead, they're here and they have a certain role, and maybe they're just not buying into it. And I think, again, this year, there's no way I've got them in the tournament. I mean, again, we're not even going to prove it. This is a game where you could prove it. Florida is a quality team. I don't know about how high. I know Muss, he knows the head coach well. He knows they're friends, whatever. He talks to him on the phone, so on and so forth. He thinks they're a really great team. They probably are. I certainly did not think they would start off 0-2. I think I had Florida in my top 5 preseason power poll. I didn't talk about that here. Just jotting numbers down and talking with some folks, including Blake Lovell at Southeastern 14. I certainly thought Florida would be in that category. They're starting off slow. Yeah, I just don't know what to tell anybody. It's going to take. I mean, this is an offensive. They're great. Again, they are offensively top 10, top 11 in points per game. They're an elite rebounding team. Now, they do give up buckets. They give up points. They're giving up about 77 points a game. There's an opportunity here. But it doesn't matter when these 5 guys that Arkansas puts on the floor, it doesn't matter if there's just no chemistry, and the coaching has been the way that it has. We've been hard on what's going on the floor. We've been hard on those guys. We've talked about the players. This guy's not bought in. Brazil's doing this. I don't know what's up with Battle. I don't know what's up with Devo. And we haven't talked enough about the coaching. I think coaching does deserve a lot of criticism. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's. I said this a week ago. I said this a week, maybe the week before. I know for sure I said it a week ago. It's almost as if Muss knows he's working with a far more limited roster, and that he's probably at this point he's tried everything. It's not working, and you can see it. They don't have a rotation down, and there's just no defensive effort. Everyone, you're getting guys still chucking the ball up, ill-advised shot attempts. Battle is still good for two of those a game, if not more. It'd be okay if he had a hot hand, but he's not had one. So yeah, I don't like Arkansas in this game. I'm going to give this to Florida. I don't know what to expect. I mean, it does depend on what team shows up for Arkansas. If Arkansas comes out and plays the best ball we've seen since Purdue, since Duke, then yeah, I think they could run Florida off their own floor. I just think they are Arkansas with the potential that they have, the potential rotation just in terms of depth. They should be able to compete with anybody, anywhere, anytime, any place. We already summed that up with anywhere, but whatever. It's not happening. We can go on and on till we're trying to beat a fart out of a dead horse. There's nothing there. But it doesn't mean that I think it's completely impossible because they have that potential. But this will go down. I think it could go down kind of similar to last year when they went 8-10 as one of the most talented rosters. A very veteran roster. Now they're veterans from other places. You're plucking these guys from around the country. I'm not talking about veterans who played together. That's the other thing. Eventually, you're going to roll the dice, and it's going to bite you. And I think that's what happened. But individually, if these guys get on the same page, and we leave the individual part out, and we start playing, they start playing as a team, Arkansas could be dangerous. We'll see what they do. Maybe they could turn into that team where, yeah, we're not going to the tournament, but we're going to get some upsets. Maybe that's what they are, and I kind of have a feeling that's what they're going to be. Maybe they get an upset somewhere. I know someone. Who are they going to upset, Ty? Who are they going to upset, Ty? I don't know. Somebody, maybe. Or you're probably right. They win maybe 2 conference games they're supposed to win at home, and then they lose everything else. I don't know. Ty will have a hard time winning another SEC game until they change the lineup. Bench Devo, Ty. I also saw a picture where Devo had painted fingernails. Is this true? Why? I don't care. Y'all, I could give a shit what he does with his fingernails. I have no idea why you people get so obsessed about that. I don't care. Man, if he wants to paint his fingernails, then if they win, I don't care. Maybe he's doing it because he thinks that it's good luck. I could really care less if he's painting his fingernails. I don't know why anyone gives that any time. Devo had painted nails for a long time. Yeah, he's painted them. I don't know. CCP Bucks. What does the CCP stand for? Who cares about his fingernails? Just wish Graham would lose the blue hair. Well, you can't say who cares about the fingernails and then go on about someone else's hair. I got something. I don't know what it is. I got something in my chest. They're going to upset fans. I hate the hair. I just don't care. I really don't. I mean, unless it's affecting their play, let kids be kids. I don't know. I've never cared about that. I really don't. It's like when people got upset about Tim Tebow putting Bible verses on his eye paint, or they turned them into tape. It used to be just paint or whatever you'd put on your face. Forgot what we called that, but now they would do the tape and he'd put the Bible verses. People got so bent out of shape about that. I don't understand why. Who cares? Cool. I live in Dallas. Don't have a lot of updates. I don't know. Let them know, Ty. That's ridiculous. Listen, if it affects you that much, I don't know. I mean, kids today, it's a different world. I don't know what to tell you. Like I certainly would never have painted my fingernails, but apparently that's what everyone does now. I don't know. I don't get it. The face paint is different than some blue hair. What does it matter though? I don't. I mean, fine. If you're gonna let that bother you, then fine. It doesn't bother me. Again, unless it's like I see the guys wear that thing, the little that little hair. They braid it and it hangs down here. That drives me crazy. I will admit, because I'm thinking, does that not drive him nuts? That could actually affect him, right? This little thing right here. I don't get it. I don't know that. Like, why would you want that there? That I could understand. Like, hey, that might actually affect. Like, if that gets in your face, you're doing that. Imagine being at the free throw line and you're like, God, get off my face. You know what I mean? Okay, that I can understand. If you want to paint your hair, paint your fingernails, I don't give a damn. Just play ball and be a good kid. Make the right decisions on and off the floor. That's all I care about. I have a sleeve tattoo. People bitch about it. Who cares? It does harm. Exactly. Yeah. We used to have a tattoo sponsor here. No one shamed me for that, for having a tattoo sponsor. Listening from Cebu, Philippines, 8:45 a.m. Oh, wow, Bill. My dad has been to Cebu. All he talks about, the damn Philippines. I get it. The Philippines are awesome. I get it. They playing like some sweet pea. All right. I bet Dennis Rodman with 26 boards a game, you wouldn't care if he painted his nails or colored his hair or even oh, he was wild, wasn't he? Dennis Rodman, he was wild. He was fun to watch, man. He was really fun to watch. I mean, yeah, when I was a kid, that shocked me. Like, wow, you could do that? You could do that stuff he was doing with his hair and all of his crazy tats? Like, it's kind of it was cool to see as a kid. Now, I never would have done it. We have the poll. Not very many votes, but Hogs have a shot versus Florida. 69% of you say yes. I loved watching Dennis. Yeah, I did too. Despite being jealous, being envious of Chicago's success when he went to Chicago. Yeah. All right. I think we kind of covered everything. Arkansas, again, I don't like Arkansas until they show me something. Maybe this is the game where they turn it around. Maybe this is it. I don't know. It's a tall hill. It's a tall hill to climb, man. So we'll have to see. Ty, we are beating Florida, says Josh Garr. Again, I want to believe, Josh. I really do, man. All right, for Patreon supporters, I will see. I'm going to send that link. I'm going to get that going here in just a second. This will be our very first giveaway. We're going to give away a couple of cards. So I'll see you over there. Again, that link will be available for Patreon supporters. Oh, there it is. Alabama made it official. There it is. Kalen DeBoer is the new head coach. There you have it. We'll see how that works out. There's going to be some Bama fans that hate it. He's from the Pac-12. Charles Harper says, Philip, you're right. Let's get a Dennis Rodman. I wish they would go out and just get a monster, someone who plays around the iron like he did. Now Dennis Rodmans are rare, right? I mean, come on, let's be real. But I mean, just someone who was a machine like he was, getting those rebounds, being just a beast. I wish they had that. I think they're missing that. I think they're missing that big physical center. And I get people always say that doesn't match Musselman's style. If you say so, I don't. I certainly think that I think this team could benefit from having someone like that who actually wants to play defense and get rebounds. Again, Arkansas is not a terrible rebounding team. They're just not a great rebounding team or even a good one. But I don't know, with how easy it is to drive the lane on Arkansas, how easy it is to get points in the paint on Arkansas, you just feel like they're missing something like that. I kind of thought Mitchell would step up. I'm not saying he'd be a Dennis Rodman, but someone who would step into that role a little more, or Graham would turn his defensive effort around a little bit better. We're just not seeing it. It's like guys have all regressed. Isn't that crazy? The guys you brought back, Graham and Mitchell, Graham is still kind of that offensive spark, but that's about it. You know, he might surprise you with a 16, 18-point game maybe every once in a while, but his defense is not – it's not gotten better. It looks like it's actually gotten worse. Mitchell's defensive play on the floor has gotten worse. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I certainly thought with Minifield finding his way onto the floor that this would be a better that this would be a better product based on what we saw in those first 2-3 games. And I guess it was just too physical for him in the last game. And so if that's the case, how much does he play against Florida? You know, but Florida's not as physical, but they can be. They've got size. They have length. They're not as physical as Georgia was, but you know, they're not as good defensively. Maybe this is the kind of game Minifield blows up in, you know, because Florida's not a good defensive basketball team. All right, Patreon supporters, I'll see you over there. Remember, this is for December members. This is for everyone who well, you know, you have an opportunity. If you're a December Patreon supporter, you have a shot at winning one of these cards. So, again, it's going to be a former Arkansas player card, and I'll see you over there. All right, for everyone else, remember to like, share, subscribe on your way out. Maybe you'll consider being a Patreon supporter. We're going to continue doing these giveaways. So maybe you'll consider signing up for the month of January. And then in February, you'll be able to take part in that giveaway. All right. I will see you guys, Patreon, here in just a little bit. Everyone else, I'll see you tomorrow after the Arkansas-Florida game. All right. Here comes the name crawl. Here comes the Patreon names list.